A wave of controversy has erupted in Zimbabwe following allegations by social media activist and war veteran Blessed Geyser that his farm was attacked by approximately 30 individuals, purportedly acting under the directives of Justice Minister Ziyambi and Sanyati Member of Parliament Polite Kambamura. The assailants reportedly breached the property's perimeter fence, broke doors, and smashed windows, causing extensive property damage. Geyser, known for his outspoken criticism of President Emmerson Mnangagwa's alleged attempts to extend his tenure beyond 2028, suggested that the attack was politically motivated. He has been vocal in opposing what he perceives as unconstitutional efforts by the current administration to remain in power. As of now, neither Minister Ziyambi nor MP Polite Kambamura have publicly addressed these allegations. Authorities have yet to issue an official statement regarding the incident, and it remains unclear whether a formal investigation has been initiated. The incident has raised concerns about escalating political tensions and intimidation tactics within Zimbabwe's political landscape. This event occurs in the context of Geyser's recent calls for nationwide protests demanding accountability and systemic change, including the immediate resignation of President Mnangagwa. Geyser has also accused high-ranking government officials of involvement in corrupt activities adversely affecting the nation's economy. The attack on Geyser's farm has sent shockwaves through Zimbabwe's farming community and civil society organizations, prompting calls for an independent investigation to ensure justice and uphold the rule of law. As the situation develops, attention remains focused on the responses from the accused officials and the authorities regarding these serious allegations. In a significant development within Zimbabwe's political and military spheres, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has reassigned Lieutenant General Anselm Nhamo Sanyatwe from his role as commander of the Zimbabwe National Army, ZNA, to serve as the Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts, and Culture. This move follows the recent election of former Minister Kirsty Coventry as the president of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, necessitating her departure from the ministerial position. The reassignment of such a high-ranking military official to a civilian ministerial role has sparked widespread debate and speculation. Analysts suggest that this decision may be part of President Mnangagwa's broader strategy to consolidate power amid growing internal dissent and fears of potential coups. This action marks the third significant reshuffle in recent months, following the removal of the Chief of Police and the head of Zimbabwe's intelligence service. Lieutenant General Sanyatwe, previously the second most powerful general in Zimbabwe, and a close ally of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, played a pivotal role in the 2017 coup that ousted longtime ruler Robert Mugabe. His transition to the sports ministry is viewed by some as a demotion, potentially aimed at reducing the influence of military figures within the government. The phrase, which translates to "you all keep listening," resonates with the current public sentiment, urging citizens to remain vigilant as these political shifts unfold. The reassignment of military leaders to civilian roles may indicate underlying power struggles and a strategic effort by President Mnangagwa to assert control over both the political and military establishments. These developments occur against a backdrop of increasing calls for nationwide protests by war veterans and other groups, demanding President Mnangagwa's resignation over allegations of economic mismanagement and attempts to extend his rule beyond the constitutionally mandated term. The administration's recent actions suggest a proactive approach to mitigate potential threats and maintain stability within the country's leadership structures. Zimbabwe navigates these complex political dynamics. The public remains watchful of how these changes will impact governance and the nation's future direction. Let's jump into another episode. In a recent and heated exchange, Paul Tungwarara, President Emmerson Mnangagwa's presidential investment advisor, publicly confronted war veteran Blessed Geza and his supporters, staunchly defending the president's leadership. Tungwarara dismissed the online criticisms from Geza's faction as mere noise without substance, emphasizing that tangible actions outweigh digital dissent. This confrontation emerges amidst escalating discontent within Zimbabwe's political landscape, marked by increasing protests and amplified calls for President Mnangagwa's resignation. Geza has been particularly vocal, asserting that the president has failed to address the nation's pressing economic challenges. He has called upon citizens to unite in demanding accountability, stating, "President Mnangagwa has failed, and the time for change is now." The clash between Tungwarara and Geza underscores the deepening divisions within the ruling ZANU-PF party. Members find themselves navigating a precarious balance between allegiance to the president and addressing the burgeoning public dissatisfaction. This internal strife reflects broader concerns about the party's cohesion and its capacity to effectively govern amid mounting economic and social pressures. As these tensions unfold, the Zimbabwean populace remains vigilant, closely monitoring the government's responses to both internal critiques and public protests. The outcome of these developments could significantly influence the nation's political trajectory in the coming months. Zimbabwe is currently experiencing significant political turbulence, with widespread public dissatisfaction directed at President Emmerson Mnangagwa. This unrest mirrors the sentiments that led to the ousting of former President Robert Mugabe in 2017. A major point of contention is the ruling ZANU-PF party's proposal to amend the constitution, allowing President Mnangagwa to pursue a third term in the 2028 elections. Justice Minister Ziyambi has indicated the government's readiness to support such a constitutional amendment. However, this move has faced strong opposition from various sectors, including war veterans and civic groups, who argue that it undermines democratic principles. Voice of America. The discontent has been further amplified by economic hardships, characterized by rampant inflation and shortages of basic goods, leading many Zimbabweans to question the government's responsiveness to their needs. In response, war veterans and other groups have called for nationwide protests on March 31, demanding President Mnangagwa's resignation. These planned demonstrations have heightened tensions within the country. Social media platforms have played a pivotal role in mobilizing support for these protests, with activists and citizens using hashtags and online campaigns to coordinate efforts and share grievances. The government's response has included crackdowns on dissent, with reports of increased suppression of opposition voices. As Zimbabwe approaches the next election cycle, the political landscape remains volatile. The opposition is working to unify and present a formidable challenge to the current administration, while citizens continue to advocate for leadership that addresses their economic and social concerns. The coming weeks are critical in determining the nation's trajectory as the populace seeks meaningful change amidst ongoing challenges. Let's jump into another episode. Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF faces internal crisis amid explosive power struggle. Zimbabwe's ruling party, ZANU-PF, is entering a tense period as its Politburo and Central Committee hold high-stakes meetings today and tomorrow. The gatherings come at a time of growing factional strife within the party, fueled by a leaked audio recording of party spokesperson Christopher Mangwana launching a scathing attack on Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. The leaked remarks have deepened divisions within ZANU-PF, exposing tensions between President Emerson Mnangagwa and Chiwenga over control of the party's future. According to Mangwana, Chiwenga is seeking an uncontested endorsement as the party's leader and presidential candidate for the 2028 elections. The recording also contained personal attacks on Chiwenga's character, questioning his ability to lead. ZANU-PF divided over Mangwana's attack. Mangwana's comments have sparked backlash from within ZANU-PF, with some party members calling for disciplinary action against him. ZANU-PF Deputy National Secretary for Security, Tendai Chirao, criticized him for attempting to rewrite history, while Mashonaland West Provincial member Gifford Gomwe urged the party to take swift action. Meanwhile, analysts see these meetings as a desperate attempt by Mnangagwa's faction to consolidate power. Political commentator Ruben Mbofana suggested that purges could be on the horizon, with potential expulsions of senior members who oppose the president. He warned that such moves could backfire, drawing parallels to the events of 2017, when Mnangagwa's ousting as vice president led to the coup that removed Robert Mugabe. Will ZANU-PF hold together? Despite the growing internal conflict, ZANU-PF's leadership is publicly downplaying the crisis. Party Director of Information, Farai Marapira, dismissed claims of animosity, insisting that Mnangagwa and Chiwenga remain united. However, with protests brewing and public discontent rising, the party's ability to maintain stability remains uncertain as the Politburo and Central Committee convene. All eyes will be on whether ZANU-PF can contain its internal battles, or if the power struggle will escalate into a full-blown crisis that reshapes Zimbabwe's political landscape.